Where are you? We wanted to record Anjaam Pathiraa today. What? You only want to watch Malayalam chill? How can you be afraid of psycho-killer movies? What do you mean? My sleepless nights are coming. It's only a movie. What should happen? Hello. Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and today I present to you the highest grossing Malayalam movie of 2020, which comes with a grain of salt considering that most of the world's cinemas are closed right now and it's still very uncertain how everything continues in the near future. Anjaam Pathiraa, which translates to The Fifth Midnight, came out in January and it opened to mostly positive reviews. It is a mystery crime thriller that was written and directed by Midhun Manuel, who up until that point was only working in comedy. But if you're looking for comedy or even just some lighter moments, you have to keep looking elsewhere because Anjaam Pathiraa is one of those really dark and grim movies. The majority of it takes place at night and unlike the Tamil language psycho-killer thriller Ratchazan, which I just reviewed last week, the tone of this movie is more consistent. But for me the movie is also missing a certain spark. It's decently made and if you're looking for a good enough, mildly thrilling dark serial killer story, you can definitely go for it. But I was hoping for something a bit better, something with a bit more grip and wit. Anjaam Pathiraa stars Kunchacko Boban as the psychologist/criminologist Anwar, who is helping the police to find a mysterious serial killer. The victims are all police officers and each body they find has its eyes and heart gruesomely cut out. Each body has also a Lady Justice statue next to it, only that unlike the traditional statue, these ones have no blindfolds. They have their eyes wide open. This isn't just the first big clue of the puzzle, but actually the most crucial one, and I just assume that this won't come as a big surprise for anyone. But if only police officers are targeted and the clue is something that has to do with justice, you might theorize rather easily in which direction a possible motive of the killer might lean. But I think the story misses out on the chance to really explore this aspect, or at least for a very long time. It had the potential to question the inner circles of the police and create more tension there. Instead, it focuses on the police's rather clumsy traps, the findings of the bodies, and tech stuff like hacking cameras and cell phones. But since our protagonist is actually a psychologist, it's surprising that there's very little actual psychology depicted in the movie. And unfortunately, Kunchacko Boban isn't really able to do that much with the limited material he is given. He's not bad, he's actually totally okay, but it's not really a character that's charismatic enough to suck you into the movie. It's good that he's not portrayed as a superheroic guy and early on it's hinted at that he has some psychological problems of his own. At least that's what people around him assume because of his curiosity for the psycho-killer material. But in the end, he's just rather ordinary. His wife, played by Ramya Nambishan, and his little daughter have no real impact on the plot at all, besides giving one clue. And another missed opportunity is to further develop his relationships with his friend ACP Anil, played by Gino Joseph, the head of the investigation DCP Catherine, played by Unimaya Prasad, or the hacker Andrew, played by Srinath Basi. I think this team of characters and the actors playing them do have a lot of potential, but there was simply too little for me there to really care or invest that much. Srinath Basi is adding a slightly lighter touch to it, and for a second I thought he could really bring in some more dynamic, but they also use these cliché cyber hacker computer interfaces that always come across as rather comical, especially in 2020, and that always took me out of it a bit, because in general the movie tries to be very grounded. But more emphasis on the friendship and cooperation between Anwar and Anil would definitely added some depth and it would also improve later developments in the story a lot. It could have added more emotions and also thematic impact. They could have also built more on the scene between Anwar and the character of Ripper Ravi, played by Indrans. At the very beginning, during the opening credits, Anwar is visiting him before his execution to delve into his psyche and learn more about his life. But we only go back to that moment once, very late in the movie. This could have been a way to learn helpful things about the current case, similar to the Hannibal Lecter character in Manhunter or The Silence of the Lambs. And in a few seconds Indras is in the movie, he promises to have some of that twisted psycho-killer charm. But as it is, it could have almost been cut out of the movie completely, because it's not well integrated at all. Some dialogues also come across as quite cheap and comical, and you might say that could be a problem of the subtitles, which is true, but I specifically mean some of the stuff that is said in English. The story, the dialogues, the screenplay in general can't quite fulfill on the promise of this being a more realistic police procedural. For that, it's not really clever enough, and there are some plot holes you have to look past. But unfortunately, it's also not exciting enough to completely work as a gripping genre movie. For me, it's somewhere in the middle. Now, this might sound all very negative right now, but as a matter of fact, like I said at the beginning, Anjaam Pathiraa is still a very decent movie that's able to hold your attention and at least makes you want to continue watching and find out the resolution to all of this. And the resolution has definitely some power to it, although it's a mixed bag again. Of course I won't give it away, but like so many times it feels a bit too much as if a new movie or story is about to begin, because not enough hints were planted earlier on and because the overall theme isn't explored enough, I think. The overall plan behind the killings is rather far-fetched and you have to suspend your disbelief for a good amount. But I still very much enjoyed the direction it went and what it is addressing. There are other things to enjoy as well for sure. The film is able to create a grim atmosphere, and the way the killings, or rather abductions, are presented is quite strong. The city landscape of Kochi at night, the lonely surroundings, the darkness, and into that darkness come these dangerous red lights, and with them the eerie music by Sushin Shyam, who also composed the scores of Kumbalangi Nights and Virus. It's an effective score, though its use could have been better. In the night scenes it worked great, but it's also played a bit too often and too loud in the other scenes for me. The cinematography by Shaiju Khalid, who also did Mahishinte Pratikaram, Sudani from Nigeria, Imayao as well as Kumbalangi Nights, is also good. Not as impressive and special as I would have hoped, but there are some highlights to be found for sure. There's for example this 1.5 minute long take that stood out to me. It shows a mysterious woman approaching a police station in a rainy night, and the way it is presented adds to the impending feeling that something bad is happening and that the people aren't prepared for it. So in German I'd say, Anjaam Pathiraa ist ein solider Crime-Thriller, der Fans von Psycho-Killer Geschichten durchaus gefallen kann. Insgesamt ist er aber leider nicht ganz so ausgereift und kraftvoll, um wirklich Eindruck zu hinterlassen. I give Anjaam Pathiraa 6 out of 10. It's more like 6.1, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Anjaam Pathiraa. And also let me know what is your favorite Indian psycho-killer thriller. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and now also on Patreon simply at The Jimmy Cage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.